Welcome back. Welcome to another edition of a Myth Without Any Tits. So, if you're wondering why we actually called that name, there is a little bit of a description down below in the video description of why we're called that. We're not being derogatory, we're not being horrible, there's a story behind it. So go have a look, check it out, and then come back. Let's get cracking, because today we are making blueberry cupcakes. So you can use blueberries, you can use any other fruit if you like, you can probably use the same batter for just normal chocolate chip muffins or cupcakes, shall we say. Now I'm going to be using muffin cases for these because I like them to be a little bit bigger, but I am using blueberries still. So first things first, we need to mix together 160 grams of butter with 180 grams of sugar. Now I'm using caster sugar, whereas the recipe says to use granulated sugar. But just be mindful that although 100 grams of sugar is 100 grams of sugar, whichever one you use, caster sugar is actually a lot finer. So you'll get a bigger volume of, you'll get more sugar granules in caster sugar than you will granulated. So caster sugar will be slightly sweeter. So this recipe actually says 190 grams of granulated sugar, but I'm using 180 grams of caster. So if you are making a difference with your sugars, if you're using caster, use slightly less because it will be too sweet otherwise. Unless of course you like sweet, then go for it, knock yourself out. So 180 grams of caster sugar. You have to make sure you wiggle the sugar around for a while because it does stick after a while. Shut up. And Sebby's here again, as you can tell. It's been a bit vocal today. Been quite vocal most days, if I'm honest. So there we go, 180 grams of sugar. I'll give these a blitz, back in a minute. So we're looking for the consistency. I think if you've watched the previous one we did where we made the shortbread, it's the same sort of thing. You're whipping you're whisking the ingredients together to get a nice creamy, fluffy, light texture. If it's too yellowy, keep on mixing. If you want it lighter. So that's what we're looking for. Quite light, quite fluffy, almost just like an off-white. It does help when you are baking to take the butter or margarine out of the fridge half an hour or so before you start cooking. The softer it is, the easier it is to mix. Don't try and mix butter straight from the fridge because you will get sugar everywhere and it will just be a car crash. Car crash TV, that's what we'll call that. So next we're mixing the egg, so eggs. 1 large egg, 2 large egg whites. Mix them in separately. So here's our chicken. That's all we put that there. So we're having a large egg. I might mix these in by hand actually. Let's do all this mixing by hand now. The hard bit generally when you're baking is the butter and the sugar. Once you've got them mixed, oh dear. I apologise if you have pets and you're watching this and it's now set your dog or cat off. I apologise. So that's 1 egg. And it's 2 egg whites, isn't it? Large egg whites, get some big eggs from the bottom. 1, 2, so. There a minute. Just the egg whites. Now I think we're just putting egg whites in, I believe, and again I'm no master baker here, but I think we're just putting whites in because that helps keep fluffiness of the cakes. If you do any sort of baking, you know you can sort of use egg whites for meringues and they can get quite fluffy when you whisk them and mix them. So I think in cakes it sort of helps keep it light and fluffy. I could of course be talking absolute tosh That's my theory. It's my channel and it's my theory, so that's what I'm saying. So I have a few other little tips as I go along here for you. I've learned a few things in my years of baking and cooking. Careful that you don't get any eggshell. There we go. You can actually get little devices, they're almost like, it's like a little mini teapot that you crack the egg into and then you pour it out and it just pours the egg white out. I do like my gadgets in the kitchen, but I haven't got one of those. I think even for me that's way beneath what I would do. Good idea though. If you do a lot of separating your eggs, it's good to have these little things to make life a little bit easier for you. So that is vanilla. Teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now if you like measuring things, go for it, but I'm a bit more freehand with these things. That's about a teaspoon. Now in here I've got some sour cream, and in here I've got 230 grams of self-raising flour with 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Oh, done it wrong way around. That'll be fine. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a half teaspoon of baking soda. I think I've done it the other way around. So we'll see what happens. Be fine. So the reason we use sour cream, you can also use buttermilk. It just helps to keep them nice and moist. Little top tip for you. So we're going to alternate it. Give this a bit of a stir. We'll put a third of this mixture in. And then we're going to put all together 220 grams of sour cream, which is about 3/4 of that tub. Not all together though, we're going to alternate it. Bit of flour, bit of cream, bit of flour, bit of cream, bit of flour. Right, now we have the batter mixture here, cake mix, not batter mix. And I realised I think I said buttermilk, not sour cream, but I say you use sour cream or buttermilk. I've used sour cream in mine. So that's all mixed in. Last thing to go in is the blueberries. I've got a bit of a tip here as well, so whether you're using blueberries or any other type of fruit, it doesn't really matter if it applies to all of them. I always give my fruit a bit of a check over, because if it's a bit tatty around the edges, I'm not using them. And sometimes with blueberries you can still get the little stalks. So give them a bit of a check. Make sure they're all okay. Make sure there's no bits of twigs, because nobody wants to chew down on a twig. Just a few too many away there. That'll be fine. Anyway, top tip, get a little bit of flour. You literally only do need a little bit of flour. Maybe not that much, but give it a mix around. So when you actually put them into the cake mix, it stops them from sinking to the bottom of the mixture. So sometimes if you're making fruit buns, as in blueberry muffins, apple, whatever, sometimes when you put the batter mix in the cake tins or the muffin tins, all the berries sink to the bottom, but if you put a bit of flour on them, it just gives it sounds daft, it gives the mixture something to stick to, and it helps to keep the fruit in the middle of the buns. So that's nicely mixed up. Put them in here and put all the flour in, it's absolutely fine. And give them a bit of a stir around. The last thing to do is put them in the muffin trays, muffin cases. Right, so that's all the muffins in, cupcakes, whatever you want to call them. I did preheat the oven to about 180, so these will go in. about 20 minutes. 20 to 24 minutes actually. So we'll go from there. The buns are out. What do you think? How nice they look. See what I mean about the tops? I've still got some blueberries on because we put the blueberries in the batter, in the flour. It's retained them in the actual batter mix, cake mix. And there we have it. Blueberry muffins. If you do happen to make these, drop us a like, drop us a comment. How did yours get on? Did you like the recipe? Did you have got any little tweaks that you can do for next time? Drop us a comment, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. Stay tuned for next time. Thanks for watching, guys.